welcome. I'm Anna, and here I'm joined by my friend Marg.
Hello.
It's very early for her down in Australia. A very, very early call for her. So thank you for joining me at this unearthly hour, Marg.
No problem.
Aw. So I'm just going to introduce myself, and then we're going to chat a little bit more to Marg. My name is Anna. I'm a designer. I trained in textile design, and I've expanded into graphics and surface patterns since I graduated. And a while back, I was talking to a Facebook expert about developing my business, and she suggested I started sharing my expertise with others. So initially, this conversation felt a bit like I was being hit by a truck, but a few months on, I've got a couple of courses under my belt, and I'm launching a few more at the moment. So Marg is a friend of mine. She's working on her new venture alongside her pressurized job. So let me introduce her properly and let her tell you a little bit more about herself. So Marg, tell us a little bit more about what you do and about you.
Okay. Currently, I'm a team leader in a marketing firm, so all of my team are working remote, and we work in the real estate space. And at the moment, that's quite pressurised because where I live in southeast Queensland, land is at a premium, and we're running out. So, which is kind of hard to imagine if you think about Australia, but yes, we are. So that's the job. It's quite pressurised, and I have a side hustle as well as a coach and educator excuse me, around quality improvement, and also uh, young helping young leaders and people management, ethical leadership of people, and that kind of thing. That's where my passion is, and that's where I'm building, hopefully, a business on the side there.
Yeah, looking forward to all that launching in the next few months. That'll be
Yeah.
fabulous. So we're going to chat a little bit more about the course that you did and some other
Mhm.
things that are coming up. So you were one of my first students who did my social media and time-saving tools. You did the
Yes.
initial smaller one, and you've done the later one, which has been 30 tools. So
Mhm.
for those of you that don't know what it's about, we're just going to watch a short video. So, Mark, we were chatting about you've done the updated version of it, and tell me a little bit more about what your feedback was.
Oh, well, as you mentioned, I did the shorter one, which I found really helpful, actually. I found that I was underutilizing a lot of the tools that we take for granted, we use every day. But the longer one kind of blew my hat off because not only did you cover note programs that I use every day and underutilize, even more so than I knew before, but you covered ones that I'd heard of and I thought I knew what they did, but turns out I didn't really. And then, of course, you covered ones that I'd never heard of that were going to be of immense use, not only for my professional life, but also my personal life. Yeah, so I loved some of the programs that would help me save time. Even on a personal level, I do a lot of verbal notes into my phone, and the transcribing tools and that kind of thing from a personal point of view, fantastic. The tools that could help me collaborate with other people and organize myself without having to manually do everything every time. I mean, so good. And then, of course, the creative side. I'm a business person, so I'm not a creative mind necessarily. I love to do creative things. I'm not necessarily good at them. But so those creative tools that would help really give me shortcuts into making what I do and what people see when they see my landing page, that kind of thing. Really professional and really slick and really reflective of who I am without having to engage a professional person. Yeah, really great course.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Yes, well, we all need help, trying to, especially when you're self-employed and you're doing your own thing, you have
Mm,
to wear every hat. So the more
yeah,
tools and apps you can get that can just speed things up for you just makes your life a lot easier.
it's
A
so
lot
true.
easier.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and, Marg, we were chatting a little bit about the other courses that I'm running as well. We're gonna just
yeah,
show a short video of, one of them, just 1 second, and this is the one about the file types and sizes. We're just gonna watch that. Just 1
great.
sec.
Yeah.
So, Marg, we were chatting about this, weren't we? I mean, this isn't a course you've completed yet, but you were telling me how much you wanted to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, as I mentioned before, look, I am in the business space, but I'm not a techie by any stretch of the imagination. So look, I know a JPEG is a photo, and I know a Word is a Word, and Excel is Excel. That's about it. So I'm
Yeah,
really keen to find, the what the different extensions mean and their different applicabilities, and because you want the best quality for your time and the best bang for your buck, and you don't want to waste time in different extensions if you need something different.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And the funny thing
Mm,
is, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a techie, but I suppose this is all the stuff that I've learned along the way that I've just tried to make really practical for people to access, because I've learned lessons and made mistakes, and it's just trying to help people get by with the things that I've learned that have gone wrong, and then tell them that actually this doesn't work, but this does work. So that's what I just try and do,
yeah.
just make it really practical and easy to follow. Um,
And
yeah, so we
actually, that makes you the perfect person to do it because you didn't come at from a tech point of view. You came at it like from any Joe Blow like me,
yeah.
and like you said, and then you know how to explain it in terms I'm going to understand because it was you.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I try not to use all the jargon because I'm kind of like, well, what does that all
Mm,
jargon mean? So, if we
right.
don't understand what we're doing, then we can't conquer it. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Sure.
glad that one's free. That course is a free course. It if you do it end to end, it takes about half an hour. But I've had people say to me, and I need to take notes the whole time. So I didn't do it end to end. So it does mean that people take a little bit longer if they want to make notes the whole time, but I've been told it's
Yeah.
really helpful, so
Yeah, yeah, I've done that with all your courses, taken lots and lots of notes and referred back to them because it's such good information. Yeah.
oh, that's great, that's great. And, the third course we're gonna talk about is the intellectual property course, and we're just gonna watch a short video
Mm.
about that. So this course, I have designed for designers and artists, but I'm getting feedback that actually other people are gaining from it, and because it's the principles that they need to know just when they're creating stuff. So we were talking about this, Marg, weren't we? And you've got some kind of interesting stories from close to home that you experienced, which were IP. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Before I get into the big story, I just do want to mention that, as I mentioned before, I'm not creative, like professional, but IP is so important across the board, no matter what you're involved in. If you're coming up with a new business model or business context, that's IP. And I was talking to my housemate, who is a pastor, and she was talking to me about perhaps needing to do the IP course from their point of view and what they're producing from the
Mm,
church. Um, but closer to home, there was a situation a few years ago in Australia. For those who don't know, Australia,
easy.
in our early years, really grew up with the on the back of the sheep. So UGG boots were something that were they were developed to help people stay warm, and that kind of thing. And they were just an iconic part of who we are as a country, and New Zealand too. Apparently, I found out last night. So it was just always a part of our history, always a part of our vernacular. It was in our dictionary. It was the word "ugg" in terms of UGG boot. Always, everybody knew what it referred to. You could get UGG boot moccasins and slippers, and so the brilliant thing about them is they were sheepskin lined, so your feet were warm, but they had a proper sole, so you could go outside or hang out the washing or whatever, or on the farms or whatever. So that was been a big part since. Well, I don't know exactly when. I think it's around the 1920s or so, but a situation occurred. I don't know. I can't remember the year. Do you remember the year, Anna?
No, I don't know the year.
No, I think it was the late 90s. Yeah, in the night. Anyway, a little while ago, an American company noticed that the term UGG boot was not trademarked. So they decided to trademark the name and patent the boot, and then went after all the little mum and dad businesses in Australia that had the term in their title. So their company is called UGG Australia, but they're not Australian, they're American,
Yeah.
and they went after, like I said, um, the iconic part in Australia. I was actually in the UK when it happened, and I heard
Yeah.
of stories where this little tiny place that was they had UGG in their title of their business, and they were a tanner and a cafe, and they were taken to court
Mm.
by this
Yeah.
big conglomerate over the word, the term UGG boot. So now in Australia, you'll have different terms, but anyone who's got you can use the word UGG boot, but you can't use it as your business title. You can't have UGG in your business title because it's trademarked. So that was a big drama, and I got very passionate about it because obviously it's a bit like, for me, it's a bit like the Aboriginal culture. It's a huge part of our culture, and
Mhm.
it really felt like someone just came in from another country, just came in and just decided to stamp on your feet and steal what's important to you. Um, yeah, so that was a really ugly lesson for UGG boots, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say the brand, but I'm gonna. UGG Australia, don't buy it, buy Australian. There are websites that sell good quality Australian UGG boots or New Zealand UGG boots that don't go to conglomerate America, and they're overpriced anyway. So you can tell I'm a little bit passionate about it, but it's a reason why anything you value that has come from you, it's really important to get those safeguards in, especially internationally. And we, as you would know, we have a lot of tourists that come here, and UGG boots were never a trendy thing when I was growing up. They were really daggy. They were really housewear. If you wore them outside, you were considered to be a chav in your terms. And so it was not a trendy thing until a couple of stars started wearing them, and suddenly it was a cool thing. They would wear them in
Right.
summer, which I found really odd. But anyway,
Mm.
when it was only when they got trendy that people twigged. So, and because we hadn't gone through all the safeguards, it really cost a lot of
Mm.
people a lot, not money, but our heritage and our businesses, went under because of that. Mm.
Yeah. Times like that when you realise
It's
just how important it is to get things in place. Um, yeah,
Absolutely,
definitely.
absolutely. And like there are other things that you think, oh, this is not an invention, it's just a little tweak on something that all exists. But if you're okay with other people using without giving credit where credit is due, let alone the financial implications, then
Yeah.
fine. But this obviously had a massive, massive impact across not only my country but New Zealand as well.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
continues to so because UGG Australia is a big brand. And
yeah,
I even this sold here because it's trendy.
yeah, that's
But
right. That's right. That's right. Real life examples.
yeah,
Real
yeah,
life examples.
unfortunately,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, Marg,
It's not fun when it happens to you.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No,
Mm.
it's not. So, tell us a little bit more about the business that you're gonna be launching in the next few months. Tell us a little bit more about what you're gonna be doing.
Sure. Okay, so I am a quality improvement coach. That means, from an English point of view, I worked in the Ofsted space. So I coached my teams in quality improvement across a couple of different standards, and one was an international one, as well as the customer journey and client services and that sort of thing. So in Australia, we have a very different take on quality improvement. So I coach teams and businesses even one on how to embed quality improvement monitoring against the protocols that are required from a reporting point of view. We also, I have delivered and designed bespoke training around that as well. And I also do, and this is where my real passion is, I do coaching for new and inexperienced managers, not just of people management, although that's my area of expertise, but just management practices generally. And I also do education and coaching around ethical people management practices, putting people are our greatest resource. And, very often the very first thing that hits the floor when financial pressures are on development training programs.
Mm,
And I also teach people how to manage their manager. So we bring in emotional intelligence and different, in fact, the very first course I ever wrote was in England about how to manage your manager. Because all these things help us to disengage emotionally in a negative way to do a better job and have a
yeah,
higher productivity, and also the team dynamic. So I will coach whole teams in the different personality learning styles, different things like that, and you see the productivity just shoot through the roof. So that what I'm
brilliant.
doing right now is I'm pulling together different templates and different resources that people can just take and run with, encapsulated courses that they can run themselves, or I can come and do over
Mm,
Zoom or face to face if they're in Australia. Yeah, that's what I'm building right now. I'm very excited about it because it's been my career, and I'm excited to be able to bring it to the sectors that don't get the chance very often to put these things in place, places like not for profits and that kind of thing. Big conglomerates will often do it, but they'll often miss the people stuff. They'll do
yeah,
the
yeah,
accounting and the different things like that. But people are, and you have one. There's an old saying that says, "People don't leave jobs; they leave managers." And it's the same thing. You've got one person who's struggling to fit in or perform, and that affects the morale of the whole team, which affects the productivity of the whole team.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
sorry,
true.
ran over.
No, no, it's good, you're passionate about it. It's fine. It's
Mm.
fine. I'm just gonna show people what the courses are on at the moment, and just the finish with the prices that are going on. So at the moment, I've got an offer on. It's running until the middle of next week, and so the file types and sizes. We watched that one. That one is free. And the top 30 time saving and social media tools. The full price is £149, but brought it down to £90. And the intellectual property course is at different prices depending on what kind of version you are interested in. There's a professional version to help you learn how to put it into your business, a basic version which just covers the different types. And there's live classes as well, which are interactive with other people if you want to learn together. And the webinars are free. You can watch those now. They've been recorded. And 10 Reasons Intellectual Property is Important. That's also free that you can download. So if you want to see any of those, you can go to the website, www.amaniadesigncourses.com. So Marg, is there anything else you want to share before we head off?
No, I just want to share one little example from my small business management training. We often don't value those things that we are naturally good at and we take for granted. And so those other things that feel overwhelming are those nuggets that people need. And that's what you've done. So when I was doing this course, I was asked to deliver a presentation on time management tips. Now, to me, that was like, this is embarrassing. This is basic. Everybody knows this. But you know what? Everybody didn't know it. And it was a valuable lesson for me that what you take for granted in yourself, other people would consider you an expert. So what you've done with these courses is that you've taken what other people assume you should know because you're online, and you've broken it down and put it in terms that anyone could pick it up and run with it. So I just want to say, don't anyone out there, don't undervalue what you naturally are good at because somebody else needs what you've got.
Yeah. Thank you, Marg. Thank you. I suppose when you're working with something
Okay.
every day, it becomes more, it becomes more normal.
Right.
Well, my mum said to me,
Yeah.
just because you can do something in half an hour doesn't mean somebody else will take half an hour to do it. It's just, you get
Yeah.
used to doing the things that you do every day. But thank you. That's great feedback. So, you've got a little puppy waiting for you behind there,
Yeah, I
wanting
don't
your
know. Can you
attention.
hear her?
Yeah, it's
Oh, I'm
okay.
so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah.
Little Daisy
She's not
wants your
used to
attention.
being by herself yet.
Well, she's only been with you a few days. So no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Marg, for joining me. And just want to say good night to everybody. We're just going to say good night and say goodbye. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.